How do people go to Congress and become multimillionaires in a few years on a $175,000 salary? Mr. Walter, I do not know. I haven't found that money tree up there in Washington or printing machine that they all seem to have. It's amazing, truly amazing. Yeah. Nancy Pelosi, I tell you what, supposedly she has some great stock tips. Y'all should check her out.
That's Marjorie Taylor Greene yucking it up last year. That's 2024 town hall, yucking it up with her supporters there in Georgia, talking about how all these people are getting rich in Congress. How do they make all that money? It's a mystery. She's recently lost her temper because, as it turns out, she's made $22 million in trade and increase her net worth. Her net worth is estimated $22 million. And somebody did a story about it, and this was her reaction online when she found out about it. She was not happy. Look at this book she wrote, and you can't read it, and that's a good thing because you really don't want to read Marjorie Taylor Greene's tweets. But it just goes out to outright slander and lies about her being unapologetically America first. I'm not owned by I own my husband's construction firm, whatever it goes on. She goes on, I publicly disclose my portfolio, invested in blah, 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 blah. It goes on and on. You can go to hell. She made more money when she was before Congress. Here's the problem. People track congressional stock trades, and a chart just came out about a week and a half ago showing the richest people in Congress who made the most money in their portfolios just last year. You see that star on that list? So this is a list of everyone who serves in the Senate and the House. Red is obviously Republican, blue is the Democrats. Number 10 on there is the one they like to beat up. Number 10 is Nancy Pelosi, the one they all want to. They literally just talked about investigating her for her inside trading. And then that Marjorie Taylor Greene just joked about, she got some great stock trips. Guess what? That star is number 21. It's Marjorie Taylor Greene. She increased her stock portfolio with $9 million in trades she's been in Congress. She spent $3.9 million last year buying stocks. Amazing. Since she doesn't know where that money tree is, she certainly does seem to know where the stocks to buy are. So that's Marjorie Taylor Greene. And you're used to her fights with Laura Loomer and her outrageous behavior. But the fact is, Marjorie Taylor Greene's still in Congress, still causing trouble, getting nuttier by the year. And here we are, and she's still doing it. But once again, she has competition this cycle. And what I love about her competition this cycle is the same competition as last cycle. You guys know, if you watch these shows often, I love second-time candidates, and she has a great one, and he's a great candidate. And you've seen him before. As it turns out, we just talked a year ago in the hot seat, is former Army Brigadier General Shawn Harris. He is a small beef producer right there in Northwest Georgia. He's decided to get back in the race, take on the worst of the MAGA crew, and I just had to get Shawn to the hot seat, so I'm excited to have him here. Again, I'm Fred Wellman. I'm host of On Democracy right here on the MeidasTouch Network, and this is In the Hot Seat with Shawn Harris. Shawn, man, good to see you again, my friend. Welcome. We were laughing in the pre-show about how Marjorie Taylor Greene somehow did discover the stock market, huh?
She has definitely discovered that stock market, and wow. And at the end of the day, you have to ask yourself, how can somebody come from Northwest Georgia, go to Washington, D.C., and all of a sudden become a multi-millionaire when she completely forgets about the people here inside of the district that are just struggling to make ends meet?
In an affordability crisis. So I always ask this first question to every candidate that comes on, and I've asked it to you before. Look, you've got a good life. You were oddly in a couple of services. I still haven't figured out how you were Navy and Marine and Army. But however, you're a retired general. You've got a wonderful family farm where you're producing beef right there in Northwest Georgia. By the way, if you've never been there, folks, it is a beautiful region. I have spent a lot of quality time there, and I love the region. Why are you back in the race again for a second bite of the apple?
Fred, the reason why I'm back is because it's simple. The people here in Northwest Georgia deserve somebody that's actually going to listen to them, fight for them, and put them first. Yeah. And when I went back through last cycle and then thought about it, was I going to get back in the race? I said to myself, if not me, then who? And that's where it comes down to. Leadership matters. And that's where I'm at. This race is not about me. This race is about all the little people here in Northwest Georgia that's barely making it. I want to get to Washington, D.C. and focus on fighting for them and making sure that their lives and their kids' lives are better.
Yeah, there's real issues. We were looking at the news. You own a small farm, a wonderful beef production organization business. I know I've seen pictures of you out there working, and there are really issues facing the people there. I understand there's kind of a water issue going on right now that you've been dealing with.
Yeah, here in Northwest Georgia, you know, up in Dalton, we have the carpet industry, and they have been there for years. And I'm not blaming them, but you know, we had got the situation with PFAS, and PFAS got into our water system. It's all the way from Dalton through Rome, all the way through our entire district. And I just did a commercial the other day about it. We're going to continue to drive this home, because guess what? Marjorie Taylor Greene is not even talking about it, not doing anything about it. Really, what she's doing, instead of working on how can you improve the EPA to come here and help out the people of Northwest Georgia, she's trying to dismantle the EPA. Hence, this clean water issue, in my opinion, is a simple right that everybody should actually have, regardless of your zip code. It should not get into that. You should just have basic clean water. And right now, throughout our entire district, you can talk to everyday people. They know about the issue. However, they need a champion out of Washington, D.C. that will force the issue, because right now we have actually had some lawsuits in Rome, which is great, and that helps out the people of Rome. But what about all the people still upstream toward Dalton and then downstream below Rome? We got to make sure that we take care of everybody here in Northwest Georgia.
Yeah, and this is the whole point of having a representative in Congress, right? And the actually representing you, and another challenge you've had in that district, I know, and it's only been exacerbated since the last time you and I talked, is healthcare, access to healthcare. Healthcare it's also a major employer, I believe, in your district, isn't it? I mean, healthcare, now we've got the big billionaire bill, which is going to give Marjorie Taylor Greene a great tax break, I imagine. Has healthcare been all but more exacerbated than it already was?
Yeah, Northwest Georgia is just like everywhere else, especially being a rural community. As you know, my wife is a physician, and she works in a small clinic, and I think her small clinic is going to be okay, because it's connected to some larger hospitals out of Atlanta. But at the end of the day, what concerns me are all of those smaller clinics, all of those nursing homes, all of those places that this big, beautiful bill, because of the cuts, are actually potentially going to start closing here in the next 1 or 2 years. And then, the Republicans, Marjorie Taylor Greene, put certain things in place that these things should happen after the election in November 2026. The problem is they didn't take in consideration hospitals have to make decisions based on today. And if Medicare dollars are not coming in, then guess what? Some of our rural hospitals potentially got the opportunity to close. And unfortunately, I think 1 or 2 may be right here in Northwest Georgia. And we pray that don't happen. But right now, our Congressman Marjorie Taylor Greene is not doing anything to address that, to try to make it better. And I pray to God it don't happen. But I have read some information that potentially right here in Polk County, where I live, we might actually have a nursing facility actually close in the future.
Oh my God. And 60%, I believe, of nursing home rooms in all of America are paid through Medicare and Medicaid. It is a devastating loss that's going to come, and everybody's going to pay the price for it, aren't they?
Yeah. And the unfortunate piece is, regardless if it happens today or happens 5 years from now, if it happens now, your mom, your dad, seniors come back into your house. Okay, great. You can handle that. But do you have the skill set to actually give them the medicine and all the things that they get at the nursing facility? The answer to that is probably no. So that's why I'm fighting hard to ensure that we have our facilities here in the rural community, because right now, the rural community, just like our farmers, everything else shows up first out here in the rural community before you see it in the cities.
Yeah, and that goes on. And that goes for veterans too. You know, we're both veterans. We're seeing essentially what I think is a dismantling of veterans healthcare. They're trying to do it subversively. Doug Collins is telling us to our face everything's fine, while you and I'm sure you're hearing it right, like I have from fellow veterans, who are longer wait times for healthcare appointments, hemorrhaging employees, hemorrhaging healthcare providers. You already were on thin ice in that district last time we talked, weren't you?
Yeah, we're on very thin ice inside of our district. When you talk about the 14th,
Which is
we
huge.
really only
We were
have
talking about how big it is. Yeah.
Yeah, it is extremely big. It
Yeah.
runs from West Cobb, Atlanta, all the way up through here and then to Tennessee. But inside of that, it's only one VA clinic. And that one
Jesus.
VA clinic is in Rome, Georgia. And it's the
Wow.
VA clinic that I go to. So I don't have to have somebody to brief me up on this. I physically go there. The people that work there are doing an awesome job. They work hard. However, staffing is an issue. Hiring people is an issue. Hence, it takes time to get your appointment, a long time to get your appointment. Yeah. And then if you can't get an appointment, you have to go to Atlanta, Carrollton, or Chattanooga, Tennessee. And Fred, you know, when you're in your 50s, that's not a big deal. But when you're a veteran and you're 85 and above, now you're scared to drive to Atlanta, Georgia, on a 6-lane highway. So hence, for all practical purposes, our VA system is not supporting our veterans. And when I say our veterans, I'm talking about the veteran that's 21 years old, all the way to our veteran that's 102. We got to make sure that we take care of them. Right now, the administration is, in my opinion, I think what they're trying to do is shut down the VA as we know it and then privatize the place for somebody else can make some money off of us. So that's just not right. We raised our hand. We said we're going to serve our country. And I was under the understanding that our country was going to take care of us when we got home. And that's what I plan on doing, is fighting for our veterans. Matter of fact, I would tell you next Tuesday, Wednesday, I'm going to be in Rome at a veterans fair. The only thing I'm doing, Fred, is walking around talking to my fellow brothers and sisters. When I say I'm talking to my fellow brothers and sisters, I'm not walking around, hi, I'm Shawn Harris, I'm running for Congress. I'm walking around saying, hey, man, how are you doing? Are you struggling? What do you need some help? That's not a politician. That's a fellow veteran that knows the stuff that veterans are going through when nobody else is around. And that's the difference between Marjorie Taylor Greene and I. She don't even talk about it. I live it.
I love it. And another issue I'm sure is impacting the region, again, going back to the agriculture as well as growth factors. There is growth in Rome. I know that it's seen some growth, is the immigration issue. As the immigration issue is being fought, it's nuanced, right? There's no, there is issues at the border and all. How are you approaching that, Shawn?
Let me say right up front, I'm the first guy to say that, yes, we needed to shut down the border down south. And I got to give credit. It looks like it is shut down. However, the next phase of this is, how do we actually go about finding these killers and murderers and all these kind of things that Donald Trump talked about, versus going out and finding somebody that's coming to our farms, been working here for 20, 30 years, never caused any issues or anything, and now we snatching those guys up. So here inside the district, what we're starting to see is this is a galvanizing issue. Who would ever think that in Dalton, Georgia, there would be protests where it's more than 1,000 people protesting in front of Marjorie Taylor Greene's one office that she never opens.
Yeah, it never opens.
This is almost a weekly event, and I've been there several times. But in addition to that, little towns, and you've been here. Yeah. Who would ever thought that Summerville, Georgia would be having a protest against immigration? Guess what? Shawn Harris was standing right there with them. So what I'm saying to you is this immigration thing is actually galvanizing everybody together, because guess what? Donald Trump told us and Marjorie Taylor Greene told us they were going to go get all these bad people. What they doing is getting people that's been in our community forever, and they actually are just snatching them up and separating families and then putting them into places that are substandard for humans. So it's all about how do you do it versus doing it. So I believe what you're going to see here is more people in our district because I hadn't even mentioned how immigration is affecting our farmers. And as I think you know from looking all around the country, farmers are hurting right now because they don't have anybody come out and pick the crops.
Right.
And Fred, it's hot in Georgia today. Nobody really wants to come out here on the farm and help me. So let's don't play games with each other. Let's make sure that we take care of our farmers. Let's take care of everybody and make sure we can do the right thing when it comes to this immigration thing.
Yep, these are the topics that matter right now, and they're on people's minds. You know, the affordability crisis, everything else we're facing. These are matters. And again, unfortunately, there's just no way in hell that Marjorie Taylor Greene could touch any of them because she's now a multimillionaire. You know,
I tell you, Fred, I think, you know, 1 minute Marjorie said she was going to run for Congress. I mean, run for Senate.
Governor.
Then
the Senate, right? The governor.
Yep. Marjorie, I believe she wants to be in Congress to be a celebrity.
Right.
She don't want to actually do the job. I think Marjorie really don't want to run against me because she knows she's going to get beat. I think what Marjorie's trying to do is trying to set herself up to be on Fox News and be a talking head or be a podcast person. But she don't have the courage just to step down and say, you know what? I hadn't done anything for the people of Northwest Georgia in the last 5 years. I'm just going to walk away from it because right now, Fred, guess what? Shawn Harris has nobody on the Democratic side running against me in the primary. Marjorie Taylor Greene got 2 people on the Republican side running against her. That right there speaks that, guess what? The Democratic Party and the people believe in Shawn Harris. Leadership matters. Somebody on the Republican Party said we can do better than Marjorie Taylor Greene. And as you know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is in a civil war with the Democrats. I mean, civil war with Republicans.
Her own party.
At the national level, then also here at the state. So she's on an island all by herself. And guess what? I'm coming to visit her on that island and she's going to get voted off.
Let's vote her off. With that, Shawn, where do they find you? Where can our wonderful Meidas Mighty maybe throw you some change, maybe do some postcarding? Where can they find out more information?
Bottom line is Shawn for Georgia. That's my website. And Fred, let me just take time to thank you for everything that you have done for us. You know, prior to us jumping on the live air, we talked last year, this time, almost to the day.
Yep.
We were having this conversation. That is powerful that here 1 year later, we're still in the fight. We still got our energy. And I want to make sure that Democrats, independents, and common sense Republicans know that I am an individual that's going to fight for them. I'm not the guy who's saying the parties first. It's all about, for me, what is best for Northwest Georgia. And that is how I'm going to fight every day. Just like I had the uniform on, I was fighting for the American people. I didn't get into with a Democrat, Republican, or independent. And that's the same way I'm going to be as your congressman.
I love it. Let's get you there, Brother Bragg. Always a pleasure talking to you. Great hooking up again. Keep us formed, and we wish you the best of luck, man.
Thank you very much. Come on down.
I will. I can't wait. I love it down there. See you soon. Well, great conversation as always, Shawn. Shawn is a brilliant guy, and of course, fellow Army veteran. Made it all the way to general. Made it farther than me. I was lieutenant colonel. So look, help him out. You know, Marjorie Taylor Greene is in a weird place. Let's make it weirder. Let's make her a civilian. And that's how we do it. Again, this is In the Hot Seat with Fred Wellman. That was Shawn Harris. We're thrilled to have you here, right here in the MeidasTouch. We'll be throwing out more of these. We just did one with Angus King, the third runner for governor of Maine. Keep out. As always, you'll find On Democracy with F. Wellman every Friday night at 7 p.m. Eastern. It's a live show. So if you're looking, by the way, some folks asked, if you're looking for the On Democracy show, go under the live tab on the MeidasTouch Network. That's where you can find us. Of course, there is also a playlist of all of our shows and all these events on the main playlist list. So you can find us right there on the MeidasTouch Network. Thrilled to be part of the network. Thrilled for our growth. We got a big fight ahead of us. Let's keep up the fight, folks. We'll see you again soon.